Could you take a month off? Would your business run without you for a whole month? So we'll see. I did that. So I'm Chris Francis. It's my wife.
Chelsea.
It's Chelsea Francis. So I brought her along with me because I want to be able to show what we did. Not that you're probably interested so much in what we did, but just to be able to show like that we actually did it and we took a whole month off and really we weren't bothered by work. So what do you think?
Well, I think was your dream since I met you that you said you wanted to go across country
In an RV.
And so I think that
and it was not your dream.
Yeah, so you made it happen. And so I think if you want something bad enough, you can make it happen.
We did make it happen, and I think having that deadline of like we're leaving on June the 1st put things into play to where they actually we made it work.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Okay, so we left the house on June the 1st by 10 a.m. I think that was our target. We were trying not to leave super early.
Yes, we packed everything. We packed our whole lives, and it was the camper ended up being huge, so it took off the whole driveway.
It did that.
And I got my cousin in town from Maine all the way. She flew in to stay at the house with the dogs and the cat and take care of everything, the plants.
Which was great, having her be able to take care of the house. We didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
She took care of the dogs.
We love our dogs a lot, and everyone was worried about the dogs being taken care of, and she did a great job.
She didn't think she did a better job than what we did. She took them on walks every day.
She had a 9-month-old baby or a 4-month-old baby, and she took them on walks every day and did great. And so
Juju's great. Thank you, Juju.
Yeah.
So we left and peeled out and headed to, was it Nashville?
Nashville on a rainy morning.
Yep. So we got there at a reasonable time. It wasn't super late, but it was getting dark.
Yeah.
And so
Nashville, we were just trying to get to our next destination. What were we trying to get to? Oh, Kansas City.
We were going to Kansas City. Yeah.
So Nashville was just a stop on the way. But
while we stopped, we wanted to make
we wanted to go do something and go to Graceland, and it was Nashville.
Was it Nashville? I'm thinking it was a different city.
No, it was Memphis.
Memphis, yes.
Okay, well, first we don't know where we went.
We don't know where we went.
We went to Memphis.
Memphis, yes, it was Memphis, not Nashville.
Yeah.
That's
so funny. So
hopefully every destination is not like that.
And it wasn't that long ago. We went to Memphis.
You're right, yes. Memphis, and we got there and we stayed at the Graceland RV park, which wasn't that bad. It wasn't great, but
we heard some sketchy things about Memphis. We heard
that Memphis was
that you'd be very careful in Memphis.
So we were pretty happy. We felt safe in the RV park, and we weren't really planning on staying there long. We basically just spent the night. And then we got up the next morning, packed up the RV, and then parked next door in the Graceland parking lot.
Yeah.
What did we do? We toured the airplanes.
And the museum. I do wish that we did the house, but we really just we didn't want to leave too late getting to Kansas City because that was really our destination to begin with. And so we didn't do the house, but the kids saw enough of Elvis.
Yeah, and I think it's close enough to where we could make a short trip and go do that one day.
I mean, I don't really think
maybe we will when the kids get older.
Yeah, and I've already been, so I feel like I don't really need to go. I think the kids could go in by themselves if they wanted to.
It was just a matter of time. Like, we just didn't have enough time to go see
But the museum was really cool, and they had a lot of interactive, stuff, and it was a good adventure, so we weren't in the car all day.
It was good. So our rig was huge. 37.5 feet long. We didn't start out. We started out looking for like a little van.
Yes, like a Sprinter van.
Right, little van that we could just travel in, and then realized like it was going to be a little bit too small, so we graduated up.
Well, there's 4 of us, so we have 2 kids.
Yeah, we got 2 kids, and 1 boy, 1 girl, 12 and 10.
Which they couldn't, they wanted their own space.
Yeah.
And
so we started looking for something with a couch and a table, and then we decided we needed
bunk beds,
and then a second bathroom. And a washer and dryer.
I mean, I know that the washer and dryer was really funny, but I think it saved.
It was awesome. I liked having the washer and dryer. And I liked having the second bathroom.
I think that we would have wasted days doing laundry.
Yeah.
Because
and I noticed a lot of people at the campgrounds they would put laundry in, they have to babysit it, and then they were just hanging out there. We could throw a load of laundry in, and we could just go do something. So it was nice.
And the way our washer machine and dryer worked, it washed and dried, and so you could just take it out and fold it.
Yeah, you're right. We didn't have to transfer it. It just did the whole thing. So,
but we also towed a truck behind the camper.
Right.
So Chris was the only driver.
For the RV. You drove the truck.
I mean, yes. For the RV, I decided that I could not drive.
Well, and that was the original plan, was we were going to have a small enough van to where we could just, we could both drive, but also we could just take that to our destinations. We wouldn't have to, separate, the RV. And so I think what we did worked really well. I'm glad that we did it. But if we didn't tow the little truck behind us, then
we would have been in trouble.
Yeah. We would not have been able to go to the places
we used the little truck all the time, because once we got to the campground, the RV was too big, so we just had to leave it there. So we scooted around.
So
I don't even know where that is.
That's a Bass Pro Shop. It's got to be Memphis.
We're looking at photos to kind of.
We drove through Arkansas. Yeah. That was one of the campgrounds. So that was the Worlds of Fun.
So we went to Kansas City because we let everyone in our family pick a place they wanted to go, and my son really wanted to go to the World War I Museum.
That's right.
In Kansas City, and he thought it was very important. So we picked there, and that RV park was one of the nicer ones, and it was connected to a water park, and
it was like a water park and like a whole amusement park with roller coasters and everything.
It was super nice. It was super clean. You could walk everywhere.
That was really cool. I was glad that we were there, and we got to do several.
And it was the beginning of the trip, so we were all still super excited about everything. We ended up. My son just said "Oh, I have a friend that moved here," so we ended up having dinner with his friends.
Hang on, you're gonna spoil it.
Sorry.
So Noah kept saying, who was his friend? John Michael. He kept saying, my friend John Michael moved to Kansas City, and he said maybe we'll run into him. And I was like, well, odds are that's not going to happen, because it's a pretty big city. And so when we were at this at one of the water rides, he said, hey, I think that Ward's parents know him. And so I said, okay. Well, so I texted Ward's dad, and I said, hey, do you have a number for John Michael's parents?
Yeah.
And they said, well, we're actually with them right now in
Kansas
Kansas City.
What?
What? And so, we all got together, and we had dinner.
A good, nice dinner.
And it was really cool. And the kids got to be with their friends, and
I think that it was really a good night, and the kids had really fun at the water park too.
It really was cool. So let's see, I'm going through.
Yeah, so really at the with the roller coasters, you and Noah kind of went and did the bigger roller coasters, and me and Heidi kind of bopped around and did water rides and stuff. But it was a good day.
It was good. There
was a skunk. We saw there's tons of animals in our parks. We saw skunks and
we kept seeing rabbits.
Yeah.
We kept seeing rabbits over there. So there's our dinner.
Yes.
All the kids got to hang out, and the adults got to hang out. So,
yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And then so the next day, I think we spent 2 days there.
Yeah.
So then the next day, we went to the World War I Museum. Noah and I did, and then you and
Heidi.
How
was it?
It was really good.
Yeah.
It was really. It was clean, and it was it had a lot. Tons of history. We could have spent a month there and still not learned everything.
Noah wishes that y'all spent a little bit more time there, but I think that you could have spent 3 days there, and Noah would have wanted more.
We spent a lot of time there. It was really cool.
Our son has been to the World War II Museum
like times.
3 times, and so he's very into history.
Yeah. So that was cool. I'm glad we could do it, and we knew that it was going to take a little bit of time, so we did schedule that. We didn't want to just rush through it and get out of town.
Yeah, and me and Heidi went because we opted out of this field trip, and so we went and got a pedicure and went to lunch, and we went to go to get some reading books at Barnes and Nobles, and then we actually left Kansas City after that and drove a little bit. So we left. So we only stayed really one full day, and then we were heading towards Mount Rushmore.
Well, so we had decided we were going to go to Mount Rushmore, and then at the last minute we decided we were going to skip it, and then...
Well, when we first started planning the trip, we just looked at like hours in the car that would take us. So it would say like 5 hours. Okay, with the RV, it takes twice as long. And so...
It did take longer.
So the 5 hours turned into 8 hours.
Yeah. So 8-hour day was like a 12-hour day.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good while. So things kind of fell apart a little bit. But we did decide to go to Mount Rushmore and, driving there. There was
and that was the day
wind.
that it was so, okay, so it's called the Badlands, like going to, well, I didn't know that, but it was called the Badlands. And we were in this billboard driving down the road, and the wind would blow, and the RV was going like this, going down the road, and I could feel it tilting from one side to the other. And
that wasn't even the worst one. I think the worst one was when we got further north. But
really?
We still had some wind there.
Yeah.
I still remember that.
But it was beautiful. It was like fields of like flowers, and I mean, it was beautiful.
It was. And so Mount Rushmore, I'm glad that we went, but it wasn't super exciting. It was sterile. It was,
It was like something that takes you like 45 minutes to an hour. Like we were kind of really excited about it and thought it would be like...
We could have been in and out in 5 minutes. You can pretty much see the big thing from the road.
But we hiked all the way around.
We did. We hiked around it.
I mean, it was very cool to see. But really, I was more impressed how beautiful the land was around South Dakota. And so we had never been to South Dakota before, and the temperature was amazing coming from Alabama. All of a sudden, it was cool at night. We were in sweaters, which is very exciting to get to dry air and cooler air. Don't you think? No? Nothing?
No, I'm just thinking. It was cooler because when we left it started getting hot in South Alabama. Or it was already hot.
It was hot.
And
it was 90. It was 90 degrees.
But when we got up there, like it was so cool that we didn't need air conditioning.
Nope. Yeah.
And at night we started running the heater.
That's what I just said. Yeah. It was sweater weather.
Yeah.
I can't say talk. So we had put on our jackets. It was,
So sorry. I was just thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know why this thing is frozen up.
But the campsite we stayed in. So in South Dakota, it was so green, and the campsite we stayed was a lot of kids. It had like horses. It had like 2 pools.
So the Mount Rushmore campground was actually really nice.
Yeah.
And Chelsea didn't want to leave.
Yeah, I decided that was it for my trip. I was going to stay there for a week and have a great time. And I really wanted to explore the area. Like, I felt like we kind of rushed through everything because we wanted to see so much. But I thought that I would like to go back to South Dakota.
We definitely rushed through.
Yeah.
And that was probably the biggest mistake of the trip, was just not staying somewhere too long. We rushed through trying to go to a lot of different places.
Yeah. But I definitely want to go back there.
So we stayed in that RV park.
He's finding the photos. But
I can edit that part out. So
I was really impressed with the beauty and the weather.
This was our RV park that we stayed at. And
it had a restaurant, had a little ice cream shop,
and big horses, like
yes,
the Clydesdales or whatever it was.
It was great. I could have stayed there for like 4 or 5 days.
I know you really wanted to.
I did.
And we stayed. We couldn't stay longer.
It was booked.
Because it was booked.
Yeah.
But we would have. But they had fun stuff for the kids.
I love ping pong. I think that we should get a ping pong table.
I don't know that we'd ever use it.
I think we would. Every time we travel, we play ping pong.
I think that's why we use them, because they're there and we
never get to play.
We don't normally use them.
Oh yeah, Heidi
went down that slide. It was freezing cold.
It was so cold. I mean,
she's so brave.
Yeah.
That poor guy forgot to hook up his arms.
But I just think that was our first destination where we thought, oh, the weather is great. And most of the trip, the weather was fantastic, especially coming from here.
Yeah, it wasn't until we started coming back that we got hot. But so we went to a destination right there by Mount Rushmore on the way out, and what was it called? Horse.
Crazy Horse.
Crazy Horse.
Yeah.
Crazy Horse.
I loved Crazy Horse.
Crazy Horse was awesome, and so it is just the head of that thing is supposed to be like the size of Mount Rushmore. It's a really, really gigantic structure, and it may not ever be finished in our lifetime, but they're still working on it. But the history that was there. And
well,
just the
there's a
feeling
great documentary about Crazy Horse that they play at the center, but they also, I watched it on YouTube after we left there, but they don't want to take any government money.
No government
They
funding,
want, it's
yeah.
all kind of donations. One family's been building it, but it had heart to it. It had
Really?
heart and soul, and you really felt their plight, and it was really a great experience. I'm glad
that we went there.
I'm glad that the kids got to experience that and to learn about the culture of the Indians and all the stuff they went through, and
the
what they're
Native American Museum,
and what
they had-
they're trying to accomplish. So yeah, I loved that experience.
So
then we're back on the road. I said,
I had to have my cones with me because I had to block off those parking spaces so that I could get around. Everybody janked on my
Chris
cones.
loves cones. Everywhere we go, we have cones. I mean, like,
I needed
it is
to
so
block
funny.
off
I feel like
because I couldn't fuel up in that area.
So, honey peanut butter and cones are Chris's must-haves on any road trip.
Oh, just all the time.
Yeah.
All right, so
So-
the bugs were terrible
Well,
coming through. I remember the whole windshield was covered in bugs.
okay. Well, I didn't remember that, but
Well, you weren't driving.
I did remember that up in that area, you felt like you were in a washing machine. Like you just kept going because the wind was just so strong and it was so flat, and you just kind of went through. And then we went to
yeah.
the mountains, and so.
But I think leaving that Crazy Horse and leaving Mount Rushmore area and headed out west, that's when we really encountered like really, really strong winds.
I felt like the
Just
camper was just
blowing
going
us out.
to fall it, like
It-
knock over.
It very well could have.
Yeah.
So then we're headed towards.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, we're headed towards Yellowstone.
And really because, I've seen this kind of landscape before, but the kids had never seen any landscape like this, where it was just the valleys and the mountains, and I'm glad
It was really
it
cool.
was
to drive
definitely
through.
a different part of the country that we've never seen before.
And we had reservations in Yellowstone for 2 days inside the park, but we couldn't
In
make
South
it
Yellowstone.
in time. I don't remember where it was. Somewhere in Yellowstone. Was it south?
Mm-hmm.
It was that bridge, Fishing Bridge.
Yeah. Yellowstone was great. I loved Yellowstone. We biked
but we
some.
had to spend the night on the way there,
Yes.
just because we couldn't.
Okay,
quite
so
make it
what were
all the
those
way
animals
there.
called? They ended up being deer, but we called them antelope the whole time.
Well, they were pronghorn.
Pronghorn.
But yeah, somebody
They
told us they
were-
were antelopes.
They were thousands and thousands of pronghorns all the way from South Dakota to Yellowstone that just were lining.
And at night, they like to run
To
out.
jump out in front of the- yes,
RV.
yeah.
So I really thought we were going to wind up with one of those in the front of the RV.
But me and the kids were counting them, and we got to like 200 fast, and then they got bored and wanted to do something else.
there was a lot of
Yeah.
them for sure. And so as soon as we pulled into Yellowstone, we saw
right when we were pulling into Yellowstone, right before the gate, we saw the first bison.
Yeah.
In the road, and I have a photo of that,
Yeah.
and that was super exciting.
And then they had all this white stuff.
Okay, so the kids had never seen snow. Like,
I was pretty impressed that there was snow
Yeah.
in June, and it was like I had to get out and check. I was like,
well, Noah's seen snow, but Heidi's never seen snow, and so that was just thrilling to them.
so they started throwing snowballs.
And we pulled out the down jackets. I mean, like it was cold.
No, I don't remember it being super cold. It was like chilly, but it wasn't cold.
Yeah, I guess
But
she
it
had
was-
shorts on and a
Yeah,
jacket.
she had shorts on, but
So then we had a little snowball fight.
Then-
We were still so thrilled at the trip at this point. Like, we were excited to be there. When we pulled into our campsite, we saw so many bison, and we saw the first.
what was that? It wasn't a moose. It was a caribou or something. It was a. what was
No,
it?
I'm talking about
I don't know. What are you talking about?
what Old Faithful is. No, I can't.
Geyser.
Geyser.
The geyser.
The geysers are everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, there were geysers everywhere. So there's that guy. What was that?
That is an elk.
Elk. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
saw a huge elk pulling in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved all the animals. I loved having them right out the window. Me and Heidi just thought that was like thrilling. And we bought binoculars. And or do we have them?
Where did we buy binoculars? I think we did buy. We
stopped
at that
Walmart.
Store.
Yeah.
No, there was a little like country store on the way, and we had to get binoculars, and we had to get bear bells.
And bear spray.
And bear spray. They had bear spray, but they didn't have bear bells. So we got a cowbell.
We did not do any research before this trip. So before every destination, I would be like reading about what we need. And I was like, Chris, every single person says if we're going to walk in Yellowstone, we have to have bear spray. And so we pulled over to get some bear spray, which was really needed in Yellowstone. I mean, like, you're next to wild animals.
I don't know that we were ever in contact with, like, a bear.
We were right by a mother bear with 2 cubs.
Not right by. I would never felt scared.
Well, have you ever felt, I feel like you don't have that gene, that there's something wrong with you. Like, that you never get nervous about, like, that kind of stuff. But, yeah. But
I mean, we had it.
I mean, it's not a bad thing. I think I get too worried, but.
So we had Old Faithful, which was actually really cool, and they've got it timed, and so they know, they know when it's coming. So that was pretty cool to see. And when it actually went off, it shot, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 feet in the air. I mean, it was a geyser. It was pretty cool. But I was pretty impressed by how many other geysers they had. Like, the whole place was full of geysers.
Well, Old Faithful's not the biggest one. I mean, it's just the most accurate one.
The most faithful, the most accurate.
Yeah.
So, but they had geysers everywhere. And some were really pretty, and some were just like little holes in the ground, and, they were really cool. And
that bison was...
Bison everywhere. Yeah, I remember it was blocking the pathway.
Well, we asked that guide, the park ranger, what the difference is with a buffalo and a bison. Right. But yeah, we don't even have buffalo here.
Yeah, we don't have buffalo.
They just got confused.
They just call them buffalo
100 years ago.
Yeah. So that's what that was about.
Yeah.
So you got to stay on the path over there. If you get off the path, then you might sink in a geyser.
That's true.
Somehow,
Chris really wanted to get off the path the whole time. He wanted to, and you're not supposed to stick anything in them.
That's not what it said.
Yes, I mean,
That's
Chris, who usually is a rule follower.
It said, "Don't get off the path."
It said, "Do not."
Don't throw anything.
Don't touch,
it said, don't
throw, do anything. And you were like,
I just wanted to know if the water was hot or not.
Yes, it's hot.
But that...
It's hot. He was driving me crazy.
But somehow...
He really wanted to touch a
But
geyser.
somehow the bison don't fall into the geysers and the sinkholes. And I've yet to figure that out because they weigh thousands of pounds.
Animals are just naturally... They have those instincts.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But I was impressed, amazed at how many geysers they had and how many of these bubbling fountains that they had.
I mean, honestly, by like the 5th day, I was like, okay, I'm over the geysers.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're very cool. It's very interesting.
Well, and the smell, it was like a egg smell. What is it? Sulfur. And it bothered your eyes.
So, yeah, the sulfur did, it really, my eyes by the 3rd day were bloodshot and like tearing.
Because they're steaming up, like you're kind of getting all that in your
but
eyes.
But it really is beautiful. And I wish that we did a little bit more hiking. But I think we went at the perfect time of year.
I think we did. I think it was awesome.
Like
and we did see some waterfalls.
Like the snow is still melting.
Yeah.
The rivers are really...
I don't remember, until we got up in the mountains, like the higher elevation, I don't remember it ever like getting below freezing. And yet there was still snow there. Every day.
No, yeah. I mean, I think that there was just so much snow.
It was just melting slowly. But I don't really understand how that works. So I'm not a snow guy. So plenty of bison everywhere.
And the bison all had babies right then. So me and Heidi loved looking at the little blonde bison babies.
So tons of geysers. That was our RV spot at the park, and there weren't a lot of room there, but we also didn't spend much time there. Like we were out in the park.
We spent very little time.
We slept there. That was like it. And it would have been nicer to stay at one location the whole time in Yellowstone, but since we were one day late coming in, we only had like one night there. So I
think it was fine.
A lot.
So the next day, the RV broke. And this was like before the first week.
So, we had been breaking the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Our RV slowly fell apart over the month.
But it's a rolling earthquake. It's going down the road.
I mean,
it's a rolling
It's like
earthquake.
a washing machine.
And so...
Okay, wait, hold on, back up. So we pull it. So we were out all day long. We saw tons of animals, but we've been looking for a bear because we saw all these other animals. And so we pull into the RV site, and Heidi wanted to ride bikes. So we went and got the bikes out, and we rode down to there's a little store at the bottom of our campsite. And the ranger then goes, there's a bear sighting right down the road. And so we jumped in the car, super fun. We stopped cooking dinner, jumped in the car, ran over, and we saw a mama bear, and it was like...
Cub.
Well, what were the names? They were so funny.
Oh, I don't remember.
It was like...
Earthquake and Vanilla or something.
It was completely not that. it was like strawberry jam.
I think there was strawberry something.
There was strawberry jam.
I think you're right.
And something else. And they had the Rangers knew all their names, and so we ran, and we had a fun time watching the mama and the cubs.
Yeah,
that day.
It was good, and I don't think that we were close enough to where it was unsafe.
No, I didn't feel unsafe, but I did think that it was good to have bear spray.
It was good to have.
Yeah,
that
was all my point.
Yeah, still have it in the truck. Carry around.
You do?
I don't think I'm going to encounter any bears here,
yeah.
but it's still there.
Yeah.
It's still there. So,
and then the next day we rode bikes.
We did that. We didn't just bolt out of there. We went over, and Noah slept in, and you and Heidi went down to the lake. We got some pictures. So yeah, that's what happened. Was the oil pressure dropped on the RV, and I was like, I don't think this is a bad problem, but it could be. And so they had a little mechanic shop there at the park.
Yellowstone was very equipped.
It was
they
really
had, kind of like restaurants and little grocery stores and mechanics and.
So they could have totally taken advantage of us because where else are you going to go? We're in the middle of Yellowstone. But they were very accommodating. They were very friendly.
Yeah.
And they seemed to think that it wasn't a big deal. It was probably an oil sending unit. And it would have taken them a day to get it from somewhere else, but they said, well, let's take it out and look at it, and they did, and they didn't see any problems. Everything seemed to work. They put it back in, and it worked for the rest of the trip.
I laughed because Chris went to the mechanic shop, and me and Heidi went to the store because Heidi didn't want you to be with us because I will spend more money than you will.
That does happen.
Yeah, so Heidi really wanted this big hoodie sweatshirt, and everything in Yellowstone's like $60.
It was probably not cheap.
Yeah, well, and anyway, but she said, I just have to have it. And I thought, you have to have it. She did. She had to have it. Anyway, and so we went and got some, and she loves it. She wore it the rest of the trip. The whole trip she wore that Yellowstone hoodie. But me and the kids took off, and we...
Y'all went one way and I went another in the RV once they were done.
Yeah, you wanted to get to the campsite, and me and the kids wanted to kind of look around a little bit more. And so we went down to some southern loop and did that. Yeah.
So when we got to West Yellowstone, it's actually just outside of the park,
which is a cute little town.
It's a very cute town.
Yeah.
I was really happy.
I could have stayed there for a week too.
And the
you need to edit that out.
Okay, sorry.
You can't just do that in the middle of
you can't hold it in.
Okay.
You'll explode.
That doesn't make any sense. But yes, I could have stayed at West Yellowstone for...
So the RV park, was rock, but it was still pretty nice, and there was a little zoo right next to it.
Well, what I liked is we were right in town,
Yeah.
and so we could walk to the restaurants. We didn't have to go anywhere in the car. It was really cool at night, so, you could wear jeans and sweatshirts and...
And they had grizzly bears at the thing, and that
was
the
little park next door.
Yeah, the little zoo thing. What do they call that? A preserve or
Yeah.
something? It wasn't really quite a zoo, but they would take animals that were
needed to be
injured,
rescued.
and
Yeah.
they would, if they could, they could release them back into the wild. But most of them, they had to live
That's
out
where we
their
learned about
lives
the
there.
ground squirrels,
So,
which
the ground squirrels
don't
are
have
really
here.
cool, and
Yeah.
so they live underground.
But they had a lot of birds of prey that they rescued, some bears that had been causing problems.
So most of the bear are really people problems. People
They
start
said
a problem.
90% of the bear problems are because of people.
Yeah. Might have been higher than that.
But I really have to say that everyone we met in Yellowstone and around Yellowstone that worked in the park were amazing. They did their jobs really well. They were happy to be there. They were excited.
So we went back into Yellowstone the next day.
Into the Northern Loop.
And so that day wound up being like a Saturday. So we were there on like a Thursday, Friday. It was pretty calm. There wasn't a lot of traffic. And when we went to pull in Saturday, it was like...
It was like
a concert. It was just cars everywhere.
That day, it was so crowded.
But once we got up, fortunately, we had done the southern area in the previous days, and so we went up north, and I guess nobody else went up there. It was pretty relaxed.
That northern town was so busy.
The town was, but the roads weren't that busy, and like all the things to see. It was busier than the previous days.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think if you can choose your dates in Yellowstone,
go on the
which you have to book like 2 years ahead of time, but go in the weekdays because you have the, you just have so much more freedom. Okay, so this day we were looking for a moose.
Oh, yeah, moose
and
hunt.
we were on a moose hunt.
Yeah.
And so me and Heidi were determined, and they said it wasn't moose season, and it's very hard to see, but we thought we could do it.
We found flowers.
We found flowers. We found
more geysers.
Yes, we found a lot of things, not a moose.
And in that little town.
Oh, because it had a mom elk sitting in the middle of the town, and she had hidden her baby
somewhere.
And they had all the park rangers kind of going around saying, like, this is a wild animal. But she was calm and chill and relaxed.
She was just hanging out, but they made sure nobody got too close.
Yeah.
So we learned all about the town and the difference between horns and what's the other thing? Antlers. Horns and antlers. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
I think that I'm looking at these photos, and I feel like maybe I had, I don't know, done something else.
You were there.
Okay. I think that I wasn't interested in the difference between horns and antlers. What is the difference?
Oh, now you're going to put me on the spot.
Okay, well, don't worry about it.
No,
I really still don't care. I still don't care. I asked that question, but I really don't care.
I think so. I'm going to tell you.
Okay,
so
good.
Antlers, they shed every year, and the horns, they stay
They're
there
permanent.
for life.
Okay.
Yeah, it's permanent. That's the main
A good difference.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the kids learned a lot. I really think that I was just excited every time I saw a herd of bison, just so close to you. And then we went on a hike, and the Northern Loop is really beautiful, and it's really completely different environment and landscape than the Southern Loop.
It was different.
Because you're up in the mountains.
And there were some parts of Yellowstone that we didn't see.
Yeah.
Like we could have spent more time there.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, but then we went way up. The kids played in some snow. Remember? Way up high.
Yeah, I'm getting to those. So yeah, we went up. I'm in the mountains. I mean, we were where it was like still below freezing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it did get very cold.
And we saw some ground squirrels in the park. Actually, we didn't know before even what to look for. And since we went to that little zoo thing, then when we saw those ground squirrels, we're like, oh, that's what that is.
We went on a little hike to try to find some waterfalls, and
a lot of beautiful scenery there.
Yeah, it was good. Okay, so then the next day, are we gonna?
I think we're still in Yellowstone here.
Yeah, we took lots of photos in Yellowstone. So after Yellowstone, we were going to try to make it to San Francisco.
That was the plan.
I do mumble. My mom said I needed to talk clear on the podcast, and we'll try to pronunciate
here's the snow
better.
Here.
Yeah, the kids loved the snow.
The snow is fun. So I don't think I want to live in the snow, but I think it's cool to visit for a few minutes.
I feel like this room feels like we're in the snow. It's freezing in here. It is so cold.
I love it. So they definitely got to climb and throw snowballs at each other and slide down. I think I missed the video of them sliding down.
Yeah.
So they really got along really well.
Yes.
So I was happy with that. All right,
oh yeah. So what was this?
We saw a sign that said something like
Well, go
something
keep on the
canyon.
photos. I think that they'll.
And so we were like, all right, well, let's go check that out. Because it was like right off of the road.
Yeah. It was beautiful. I don't know where it is, though. Okay.
Yeah, so we went to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And it was it was a cute little town, but it was just good to pull off the road and go do those little adventures, which is kind of what I had envisioned on the trip anyway.
I have to get out of the camper and walk. You can't stay in the RV and drive too far. We have to move our bodies a little bit. So yeah, I loved kind of getting out and stopping and.
Maybe it wasn't Sioux Falls. Maybe Sioux Falls.
We have no idea.
I think Sioux Falls was on the way up to. Somebody will know where Sioux Falls was.
It was not Sioux Falls, by the way.
Falls.
It was okay. I think we should edit that whole section out because we don't even know where we went. Okay, well we did go to San Francisco after Yellowstone.
Yes, we definitely went to San Francisco.
Yes,
we'll pick it up there.
And we stayed in where? What was the RV site called? Pacifica,
yeah, it was the San Francisco RV resort.
And the first day, we've been driving all day long, and we just had to get out and walk. So we went to the botanical gardens.
And that park.
It's a great park, and we just walked for 2 hours.
Well,
we
so
played on the playground.
Everybody that we had talked to, including the little stop that we had made on the way there in Sacramento, everybody said that San Francisco is terrible, don't go, and it's full of just like crime and homeless people, and they're pooping on the sidewalks.
Well, there's a lot of drugs.
They said it was just terrible. So we still wanted to go because we had an event there that we wanted to do. But when we got there at this little park, we were like, well, this must be kind of away from everything because it was
We pulled into San Francisco, but this is our first stop, and we were going to have dinner that night out. And so it was so beautiful. It was really, really gorgeous. It was really clean. We walked for like 2 hours through this park, this huge park that had horseback riding, and they had bison there too. Remember?
There was a whole pen of bison. Yeah,
it was beautifully landscaped, and it was just a really nice afternoon. And then my daughter had been really wanting Italian food, so I looked up an Italian place. It said like the oldest Italian place in the world. But I think she's used to eating fake Italian because we went there. We didn't know anything on the menu, and
I don't know. It wasn't that good.
I don't think you should say that.
Well, it wasn't.
But I mean, I think we didn't know what to order. But the whole day was really nice, and we went and saw all the houses that were going down the hills and kind of like traditional San Francisco.
Well,
the streetcars.
I was really impressed.
Oh, the cars that drove themselves.
Oh, the Waymos.
The Waymos.
Yeah, there's one. So they had like a taxi type service, and they drove themselves and picked people up.
The concept still kind of creeps me out, though.
It's kind of crazy.
But so that's a beautiful shot. Like the streetcars going down.
We should have rode one of those.
It really is a beautiful city. I was very impressed with San Francisco.
So we kept thinking,
I could have stayed there for a week too.
Yeah, we kept thinking like, okay, well maybe they're hiding like all this crime and the homeless people somewhere, and like
Chris was obsessed with homeless people, and so we couldn't find any, and so he started counting them. And I swear he was counting people that weren't even homeless. Like he would go, "That guy's homeless." I'm like, "No, he has a book bag on. He's going to class."
Well, we were trying to figure out where the homeless people were.
But. It was a really good day.
Because everybody had made such a big deal out of, like, it was so terrible.
Now, the RV park in San Francisco was super crowded and not very nice.
It wasn't super nice, but it wasn't that it was dirty so much. It just wasn't nice. It just wasn't, like, it was a parking lot. And so we were really close to our neighbors.
We were so close to the neighbors.
Like, in that picture, it's showing us, like, but
that was before the neighbors went.
Right, there was a neighbor right there that was next to us.
You couldn't open your curtains.
But those are two empty spaces next to us where other RVs were. So it was.
But we didn't spend a lot of time at the RV.
We really didn't.
So then the next day we went to the aquarium.
Yeah,
and we went to
downtown.
The wrong aquarium. Later we went to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, but this was. We thought this was the Monterey.
We thought we thought it was the main aquarium or whatever.
And it wasn't. So,
San Francisco.
It was a sweet little aquarium.
Yeah.
It was downtown, right by the piers, and the seal. What is the seal? Where all the seals hang out? Sea lions, maybe.
I think they were seals.
Are they seals or sea lions?
I don't know.
We need to figure that out and edit it in. Edit that in. We have to see them like we know what we did.
That was a delicious restaurant.
So that was
That one on the
Pier
pier.
50,
Fog
54.
Harbor.
Yeah, and it was delicious. I had such good fish. The kids loved their lobster rolls. The fish house at Fog Harbor was delicious.
Yeah.
And then we walked around, saw some street performers. The kids were super happy. It was exciting.
So then we took a cruise out to the Golden Gate Bridge or whatever, the little
We got
trip.
We got the city passes that had all the stuff included in the city pass, and so we kind of wanted to do everything. But San Francisco was the first place that it got really cold. Like it was.
Oh, when we pulled up to that RV park and opened the door, it like almost blew me back.
Like we were wearing all the clothes that we
were
brought
wearing
with us.
shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah, and
and
it was
opened the door and
freezing.
it was like.
Yeah.
And it really was. You don't remember that?
No, I do.
And
I
it was
thought
freezing
that
cold.
Was,
It was freezing cold and windy. It was like hurricane winds at like 40 degrees.
It was not hurricane winds, but it was cold and windy.
Tropical storm winds.
I mean, so the first day was really nice, but this day was very cold and windy.
So we took that little cruise out to the Golden Gate Bridge and then past Alcatraz.
Which is cool.
Yeah, it was cool to see, but then we were planning on going to Alcatraz the next day anyway, so it kind of worked out. But we got to see the Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz from a distance, and then that other bridge. I can feel you looking at me.
I just feel like we're going to have to edit the podcast so much because we're going to have to learn the names of everything.
I don't think it matters. I don't think it
Okay.
matters what the name of some bridge is.
Well,
Do you?
well, I think to some people that.
Probably the person that built it.
Well, no. Okay.
What?
Whatever. It doesn't matter. All right, let's move on. Okay, so yeah.
Oh, there was a guy carrying a couch.
Okay.
I counted him as homeless. He's carrying his couch. You can't just carry a couch down the
Chris,
road.
I was like, Chris, I feel like that San Francisco, what we learned is they were really cleaning up the city when we were there. And so.
Yes, we did learn that.
And so, but anyway, Chris really, we did not encounter anything that felt dangerous. We didn't feel anything we didn't see very many homeless.
I felt very safe.
It was
I felt
very clean.
very clean.
It was very clean.
I was impressed at how clean that it was. And especially, like, if nobody had warned us before and we went there, I would have probably still thought it was really clean. But especially with the thought that it was going to be
downtown
so dirty,
Mobile feels a lot less safe than San Francisco does. Well, we could say any city around the South, New Orleans,
New
Tampa.
Orleans for sure.
Okay,
I would definitely feel a lot safer in San Francisco than in New Orleans.
Yeah. I mean, New Orleans, New Orleans, there's just a lot of trash.
So Alcatraz was actually really cool. And they give you the little headphones, and then you walk around, and you're on a tour.
So Noah really wanted to see Alcatraz, and it was really a cool experience for everyone.
It was, and we learned about the people that escaped, and they dug a hole in the wall and came through the little tunnel.
But it was interesting just to be there. But I do think that everyone that lived on Alcatraz was freezing their whole life.
Oh my God! With the wind,
blew
blowing through there, and we were there in the summer. Could you imagine being in the winter?
So they had to bring in all their own water, and I don't think they didn't have it heated, right?
So when they put the water up in the water tower, it was
froze.
just exposed to the cold
freeze.
and the wind. And so when the water would come through the pipes, it was just like freezing cold.
Yes.
And
anyway.
And these poor guys, they had the stories of these guys, and some of these guys were just like not
They
terrible
weren't bad criminals.
but they just made an example out of them.
Yeah.
And it was really terrible.
It was, and then Noah met
William Baker,
and then they say he's the last surviving inmate.
Yeah.
But then Noah said he went online and he said that he wasn't. But
there might be more.
But he sold a lot of books.
I still think those guys that escaped are
and Noah
around.
read his book and he said it was very interesting.
Yeah, but he was very neat. But he was 90-something years old, and
maybe he was. Maybe he is the oldest.
But for him to come back to Alcatraz, where he spent time and then come back, I guess he's making money off of it. But.
after he left, he spends most of his week there selling books.
Yeah. So it was
But we got all the stuff from Alcatraz. We decided that all our nephews needed a baseball from Alcatraz, and
well, you just ruined their Christmas present.
I do not think that Woody Pepper is going to be watching this YouTube.
They might.
This podcast.
They might. There's that red bridge.
Okay. So Alcatraz was fun.
That's the Golden Gate, by the way.
Chris, I know. I feel like everyone else does too. But you can't tell a joke and then tell your joke.
But you don't know all the other ones.
Then Chris took a photo of a truck with cones.
He had a bunch of cones.
We love cones.
And that was the Zoom. That was like the Waymo cars. But they had a lot of these self-driving cars. I think they had beautiful architecture.
San Francisco had beautiful architecture.
Really
it was really just nice to kind of drive around and walk around the city and look at the buildings. And then we went to Chinatown.
Chinatown was cool.
Yeah.
And it wasn't dirty. It was still clean and nice. Well, I mean, I'm just saying it wasn't.
Well, I think that we were trying to find the area that people were talking about, and we never found it. And so the next day we had to move our campsites, and so we moved an hour outside of San Francisco. But really our main adventure was taking the kids to Monterey Bay and letting them scuba dive in the bay through the Explorium. And Monterey Bay
Aquarium was awesome.
Monterey Bay Aquarium was awesome.
Remember we had
I didn't get to go.
What did we do? We had to leave the RV in a parking lot in that grocery store. I guess we didn't have to, but it just made sense. It didn't make sense to drive all the way down and then come back. Oh, we went to the zoo.
No, that was a different day. That was the day before Monterey.
That's where we're at right now. We're
okay. So
the zoo.
Okay, so right, Monterey was a different day. Okay,
that was a different day.
So the day we were leaving San Francisco, part of our city pass was the zoo, and we wanted to take advantage of everything that we paid for. So we ran
to see the zoo too.
We love zoos. Yeah. I mean, we love animals. But
it didn't make sense. We had to move out of our RV park because there was somebody else coming in, and it didn't make sense for us to go to our next destination because it was like an hour plus away. And so we decided to leave it at the grocery store parking lot, which I was scared.
Oh, you were?
Yes, I was scared that we were going to get towed, broken into. It wasn't a bad neighborhood, but I mean we're clear across the whole other side of the coast, and we're in a town that we don't know in an area that.
We would have just gotten a hotel and just stayed there a couple more days.
You'd have been fine with that.
I would have been fine.
So I had notes on the windshield that said "Don't tow, call me." And I talked to the grocery store manager, and I thought everything was good, but I was nervous. And so, do you remember how fast I was going through the zoo?
You were rushing us to the zoo.
We've seen that. Move on.
You were looking at something, and Chris was like, "Come on, we gotta go." Anyway, so we rushed to the zoo.
We did rush through the zoo, and I think we missed something. I don't know what all we.
Well, it was a fun zoo, but honestly, we've been to a lot of zoos.
We have seen a lot of zoos, and they had a lot of the things that most zoos had.
Yeah.
Oh, that was an anteater.
Mm-hmm.
So. The kids had fun.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we got out and moved that day because it was going to be a driving day after the zoo, so it was nice to kind of walk around. And they did this thing with the bears where we watched where they
they hid all the treats. Yeah,
they talked about how much bears need stimulation, and they had these things the bears had to break into, and
yeah, they made it to where they had to work for it, and they were had to go find it and sniff it out, which they didn't have a problem doing.
So then we stayed in the middle of nowhere.
It was in the middle of nowhere,
but it was great.
It was a really nice RV park.
So we pulled into this RV park. We were just staying there for one night because we wanted to get to Monterey Bay because the kids were going to scuba dive the Monterey Bay Aquarium through the Explorium program. But the campground, we got the bikes out. They had a hot tub and a pool.
Yeah, we got.
They had Foursquare.
We had Foursquare
with the soccer ball.
We had a really good time there. And it was super nice.
Yeah, so and it was was it your birthday? It was Father's Day.
No, it wasn't my birthday.
It was Father's Day, and so we made you fish that night for dinner.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember me making you a special dinner?
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I know you do. I know you do. Anyway,
where did you get fish?
I brought it with us. I bought halibut, and it was frozen in the freezer for your Father's Day meal.
I definitely remember that.
I know you do. I know you do. Okay, and so then the next day, I was driving the little truck, and we were late for our appointment at Monterey Bay. And so I dropped Chris and the kids off, and I was going to park because it was hard to park at Monterey.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just going to be like a little hour-long aquarium thing because we already had seen the aquarium like 3 days before.
We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know where we were supposed to go, what we were supposed to do.
So I walked around Monterey, and I was fine. And then I was like calling them, going, let's go. And they were like, we're staying at the aquarium. So then I walked back to the aquarium, and the line was so long. And they were like, it was like at that point, one in, one out.
But that aquarium knocked the socks off of.
I know. I wish that I got to go to
You should
that
have gone.
aquarium.
But you had a good time in town, right?
No, I was kind of bored. But it's
well,
okay.
you should have gone to the aquarium.
I know. I should have gone to the aquarium.
We had a great time in the aquarium.
But I did. They came out of the aquarium and had lunch with me. But I should have just paid it and done it. But yeah, the kids love scuba diving in Monterey Bay.
But it was a real scuba diving thing, like with oxygen tank and like with everything. And they had a great instructor. And that guy was like super friendly.
And I loved watching the seals in Monterey Bay.
Monterey Bay was actually a really cute town.
I could have stayed there a week.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like everywhere I could have stayed like a week because we kind of ran through and ran out. But there was not that much to do downtown. There was just those little gift shops, and it was really beautiful.
We got to see a lot, but we didn't stay anywhere for very long.
No, not very long.
So,
yeah.
I know that was if we were going to plan it again, we would definitely want to,
Well, we'd see one area.
Places.
We would see one area of the country and really see it,
and stay.
But the
longer.
kids loved it. The water was beautiful, and they had a great experience. I think they'll always remember that.
Yeah, I think so. It was really, really cool. It was a good intro.
Yeah.
So the aquarium was so nice, and they just I don't know. They had everything.
Yeah,
but then
that was the place.
we ate lunch at that restaurant on the beach. But then we went back to the aquarium.
Yeah, I went back to the aquarium.
You could have come with us.
I couldn't at that point. Did you see the line?
You could have waited in line.
It was like a 2-hour line. It was like closing in 2 hours. It's okay. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I've seen aquariums.
But it was a really nice one.
Yeah.
I was really happy with it.
Okay.
Keeps freezing up.
I know. Well, your computer is...
This is the new computer.
Oh, okay. All right, let's get through Monterey Bay.
All right. Okay. Jellyfish.
Well, you don't need to say all the animals.
I'm not going to.
Okay. That's a pretty photo.
There's a lot of really cool things there. They did a really, really good job.
All right, let's get through this.
You're just mad because you didn't go?
Well, I didn't go, so I can't really comment on any of this. So I don't know why I'm here to watch these videos. But I was definitely ready to get out of the car and do something when y'all got back out because all of the parking in Monterey was only for 2 hours. And so I had to keep going back to the car. And so then anyway.
Well, and that whole town was a...
tourist.
Well, it started out as like a
sardine
town, but they just continued raking in all the sardines until they were gone, and then the whole town dried up. And so for it to come back like it did, because it's a very vibrant, happening tourist town.
It's beautiful.
So it's really cool. And then the kids really wanted to do that treasure hunt ride.
It was kind of touristy. It was just the pirates were walking around Monterey. If you ever go to Monterey, it's beautiful. Do everything. Don't do the pirate thing. It's
no. It was It was
fun. 4 minutes for $25 a ticket.
It was
$25 a ticket. It lasted for 4 minutes.
But it was.
But anyway, we got back to the RV and we played Foursquare for a really long time, which was fun. Got into the hot tub again. And then I don't even remember what we did next.
We went swimming, and we swam in the pool, in the hot tub. I don't think I went in the pool. I think Heidi went in the pool.
Yeah, but what did we do the next day?
Oh, the next day, we started driving to...
Let's look.
I'm working on it. I would have say that we went to
Sequoia.
Is that right? I'm thinking we went to the beach and then, but maybe we went directly.
This looks like Sequoia.
It was definitely up in the mountains. Yeah.
So let me tell you about Sequoia. So Chris, it's very hard to find campsites in national parks if you don't plan your trip way ahead of time, like a year and a half to
I don't know how
2
long,
years ahead of
it's
time.
farther than we did.
And so this was the closest campsite we could get to see the sequoia trees. And
this was the closest campground I could get to go to Yosemite, which was 4 hours away. Like this was supposed to be.
Well, if we were going to Yosemite, we would go from San Francisco to Yosemite.
I'm just saying, like there was like hardly anything available, and this
in
place,
California, there's not very many RV parks because a lot of people live in RVs, so they just move around to different RV parks,
or just stay there permanently or something. I don't know.
Well, most RV parks make
But I found this place. It was like a Airbnb type reservation.
where you can camp there too.
Yeah, you could camp, but there was.
And it was really pretty.
I was concerned that Chelsea was not going to like it because it was not a real campground. It wasn't nice.
You didn't have sewer.
But yeah, we didn't have sewer. That was the only place that we didn't really have sewer hookup, which we had, black tanks on the RV, so it wasn't a big deal.
Okay, but I loved the campsite. The problem was getting to the campsite because our RV was like a train. It was so big. And these roads were like 1-lane roads that were teeny, that were zigzagging. And every time Chris would go turn around a corner, it felt like the RV was driving off a mountain that just went straight down.
We were inches away.
No, it was like gravel was like
we were
dropping down. So then Heidi got car sick.
Yeah.
And I was about to like lose my mind because I really was starting to go like, this is not safe.
So y'all got in the little truck.
At a certain point, I just said, stop. We're just going to stop right here and live in the middle of the road. Chris said we couldn't do that.
Can't do that.
So me and Heidi got in the little truck, which I felt a lot more in control and safe. The little truck fit on the road. The RV didn't. When me and Heidi were in the little truck and the RV wasn't in front of us, I was watching Chris go so close to the edge of that back tire when it would go around the curve that rocks were falling off the road.
I had to, though. Like, I had to...
Well, I mean, it was not made for what we did.
Because to make those tight turns, like, without running into the side of the mountain that they carved out, like, I had to hug that side.
I know, but I mean, it was not made. So if another car came by, luckily not very many cars came by.
Yeah, we didn't really have to deal
It wasn't
with
roads
traffic.
that people took very often.
There weren't a lot of holes there. So when we actually got to Sequoia National Park the next day, which was kind of interesting because in a lot of places... Like, there's some big trees around, and then there's, like, a park. But this was, like, there was hardly any trees around, and then we drove into the park, and then suddenly it's just, like, monsters. So, Monsters. Even the pine trees were big. So we had to see General Sherman.
Yeah. So all of these roads, so Sequoia was awesome, and I think that's really what I was looking forward to the most of the whole trip. We were just, by this point of the trip, we were in the car a whole lot. And getting up to Sequoia and the roads, you just have to be prepared. It's just a lot of windy roads. But once you're there, it's beautiful. But it was kind of a hard track to get there.
So General Sherman's the biggest tree
in the world.
Is it in the world?
No, I have no idea.
I don't. The sign tells you about it.
But it's
by
huge.
volume. It's not the tallest, it's not the fattest, but they're saying like by volume.
I just learned about volume with Heidi's science test.
Good. But I did like Sequoia. I like the national park.
I'm glad that I got to see it.
Yeah, really huge trees that pictures just don't even do it justice.
You can't really just take photos. But I mean, like when the kids are inside the trees, you can kind of see the scale. Or when we walked through that tree, it was pretty cool. But the photos with the kids compared to the tree, it kind of works.
So it tells you biggest does not mean the oldest. It's not the tallest.
So it's just a big tree.
But no, it's a
really
it's
huge.
Big
it's huge.
tree.
It's huge.
It's the biggest. Here it is. Biggest tree on Earth. The widest, but the overall. Hang on. Let's see. Not the tallest or the widest, but the overall volume of its trunk makes it the biggest tree on Earth.
I mean, it really is impressive. I mean, sequoia is fascinating. You feel like, you're in a whole different world.
Yeah.
It feels like that's what dinosaurs experienced.
Yeah, you felt like that. You felt like you were
teeny,
living in dinosaur land.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. So on the side of the road, we saw a deer, and it was right on the side of the road, and it was just so used to people. So you're not supposed to feed it, but we fed it.
No, Chelsea, you can't say that.
Yeah, I fed it a cracker.
You can't feed the deer.
It's
like a
peanuts.
Federal crime.
It is not a federal crime.
It's some kind of crime.
Heidi fed it. It was such a sweet
and
deer.
now she's going to go to prison.
It was fine, but it was so cute. It was so tame. Look at it. It was just hungry. It was just hungry.
I don't think it's in their natural diet.
Yes, I think that we fed it some peanuts too.
Chelsea, you can't feed the deer.
Well, we did.
Shh.
I fed the deer. I love feeding animals.
All right.
And Heidi's an animal lover.
I didn't feed the deer. You made that crime all by yourself. I'll come visit you. Oh, she had that sucker she wanted me to eat with the bug inside of it.
Yes, yes, the bug sucker.
The cricket or whatever it was in there.
I can't believe that you even licked
the sucker. The sucker was fine until I got to the cricket and it started getting the legs and stuff and it was.
So the next day,
we went to the bar.
Okay, well, hold on, back up. So after I got back from Sequoia and from the big tree, the big park, Sequoia, the biggest trees in the park, to our campsite was about, an hour and a half away? 2 hours?
No, maybe 1 hour.
I don't know. But it was a lot of windy roads.
A lot of windy roads.
Noah, our son, said, I'm not getting in the car tomorrow. Like, I've been in the car too much. I'm not getting in the car tomorrow. And I felt like we kind of all felt the same way. Chris really wanted to go back in.
Really wanted to go back. I wanted to see the waterfalls.
Yeah. So that night, at our campsite, there was one restaurant / bar / anything open. And we could walk there. So we went there that night and got some food. And the waitress told us about this little secret waterfall that was close by. So we compromised, saying, let's not get in the car. Let's just go to this little waterfall close by. And it was one of our favorite days.
It was a relaxing day, and we were able to walk through there. She gave us, these really vague directions. We didn't have an address.
Go to the white fence.
It was like a white fence and pull off the road. And there was no white fence. It was like a...
It was like a white...
It was like a bridge.
It was a white fence built on a bridge. But we
found it, and we went down. We weren't even sure that we were in the right place.
And she did say there's tons of poison oak.
Yeah, so we were looking for poison oak. I'm glad she gave us that warning because it really was everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
but it was fun and beautiful, and we got out, but that day was relaxing. We didn't have to be in the car for a long time, and the kids had so much fun. Well, Noah was really afraid of poison oak.
He was afraid of poison oak, and I thought for sure somebody would get enough on them to break out, but nobody had any reactions. Oh, it was everywhere.
It was everywhere.
It was everywhere. But there's the little white fence.
Yeah, but it was good. It was a good little hike.
So then we took the kids to the bar.
Yeah,
Play some pool.
The restaurant that was up the road.
Yeah, it was a bar.
Had a pool table, so we went up and played pool for a little while, and I think we got some more food.
We did. We ate and we got along really good until I hit Heidi in the face with the pool stick.
Yeah, Chris was
not happy about
took
it.
her out.
This is an accident, clearly, but it
ruined her day.
It ruined her day. She was not happy about it.
Yeah.
So she was happy once we got back to the campsite and she could ride around. There was some cat she was chasing around.
Yeah.
So.
And then, we had the most pleasant day, and then I woke up the next morning and I thought, oh my gosh, we have to get down the mountain. How are we going to get down the mountain? So at the very beginning, I said, I'm not getting into the camper.
You just drove.
So
Heidi was in charge of taking pictures.
Yeah, I can see that. So that day, Noah said, it's my turn to drive in the little truck with Mom. Heidi stayed with Chris, and she did pretty well.
She did really good, yeah.
So me and Noah talked a lot about baseball on the way home. Baseball and soccer players. Noah was telling me all the facts he's ever known.
You remember them?
No. I was half listening, but it was about.
He knows a lot of facts.
It was about soccer and baseball, so I was trying to listen, and.
So I remember coming into um, LA, and it was just like traffic, like instantly. You remember that?
I remember just feeling so relieved that I was off the mountain that I just thought, okay, we're fine. You know, you had the hardest job because you drove the whole trip. So I think that was hard on you. That stop, go, stop, go. After the
Well, stop go wasn't so bad. Changing lanes because nobody wanted to let you in, and then I've got to get 3 lanes over. Like that was a little bit of a.
So I don't love LA. Like it's not my favorite place. I kind of didn't really want to go. Chris loves LA. He used to live there. And he went to college there, so he wanted to show the kids.
I was really excited about going back to LA.
Yeah.
Kelsey kept trying to talk me into skipping it.
Yeah, I did. I was like, let's skip it. Because I just feel like it's so crowded. But we had a great time in LA.
We got this campsite right on the beach.
It was beautiful.
It was really cool. And so we took a walk down.
The walk was fun.
Yeah, what beach was that? Hermosa Beach, maybe?
Manhattan Beach? I think it was Manhattan Beach.
Yeah, maybe Manhattan Beach.
I love looking at all the architecture on the beach.
Yeah, it was really cool to walk along boardwalk.
The food wasn't that great that dinner, though.
You're right. It wasn't.
But it's okay.
You can't. Oh, and I hooked up with Orlando.
Yeah, that night.
An old buddy I haven't seen in over 20 years, so
yeah.
We got to go hang out. And,
so
we drank some beers. I had some water.
So we walked on the beach and we had dinner, and then we went back to the RV, and Chris went and met up with an old college buddy, and it was a good day. It was a good day.
Yeah, we had good, and I brought Orlando by. Everybody got to meet him.
Yeah, me and the kids played Rummy Cube and Sequence when you were gone.
Yeah. So after I dropped off Orlando, I went by the old school that we were at and
what
saw.
What school was it?
It was Cal State Dominguez.
Okay.
And the whole school had changed so much that like
couldn't recognize it.
I mean, like some of the buildings were the same, but like where I lived, like I couldn't even figure out where I used to live. Like some of the things, and they built this gigantic stadium there.
Well, I feel like Savannah
everything.
did the same thing, and I went to school in Savannah, and I felt like when I would come back to Savannah, it's a different city now, than when we were living there during our college years.
But it definitely brought back a lot of memories, and I was like, just the things that we did and the people. And anyway, it was a good just walk down memory lane. I was like, this is kind of cool. So, so the next day, I think was my favorite day.
Okay, I thought it was a great day.
Yeah.
I should have put on some sunscreen.
We should have done things a little bit different. We should have made our kids wear helmets, or maybe wore helmets ourselves. But we were going on a bike ride down this path along the beach.
Oh, I didn't even think about helmets.
Well, we had them with us, but we just...
We did?
Yeah. How do you not know we had them?
Well, we never put them on.
I know. Nobody. I kept giving the option. Nobody wanted them. I was like, okay. Well, we're just going to be on the beach, so it wouldn't be a big deal.
Well, when we were growing up, we never wore helmets.
I agree.
I know it's the thing to do now. We should do it.
We should, and it's safer, but we just...
Maybe we're just really bad parents. I try to be a really good parent.
Could be. Well, the problem wasn't riding the bikes on the beach. The problem was when we had to go around Marina Del Rey.
that was so dangerous.
And then we got onto the highway and...
So from San Francisco, so we rode down the beach and it was beautiful. We had a great bike ride. And then we pulled into Hermosa Beach, maybe? Where were we? Where did we eat lunch?
Okay, so that was... Venice Beach.
So we rode bikes from Manhattan Beach to Venice Beach, which was a pretty long bike ride.
It was fairly flat, but
it was good. It was a good bike ride.
The marina coming through there, they didn't have like a
around.
Bridge to go over it, so we had to go around, and that's what put us on the road.
So really, and then also, it was the first time we experienced like the whole road was lined with RVs and a lot of homeless, a lot of like things that smelled bad, a lot of like people that were kind of like.
And there were like homeless camps on the beach.
Yes,
and there was like people
there.
There
was a lot of homeless.
Especially once we got to Venice Beach.
It seemed like a lot of mentally unstable homeless that's kind of creeped Heidi out a little bit. Like she didn't understand, and they kind of were yelling.
But we were starving.
Do not put this photo of me in the video.
Okay, all right. I'm definitely now everybody's gonna wonder what it is.
It's terrible. Do not do that.
So we were starving.
Don't do that one either.
So we found this place called the Waterfront, and when we got there, they had a menu that you had to like scan with your phone, which I hate those.
I'm so hungry right now.
Right now, you want some crackers?
No, I think that I wish that Dragonfly would deliver food. But anyway, keep going. I'm fine. But But this was delicious lunch. That's why it's making me
hungry. So we went there, and they had this menu you had to scan with your phone, and they were like, well, you don't have a server. You, like, order online or whatever. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, let's just go. But it was like, okay, we're here. Heidi was starving.
Heidi fell apart. Like, after, like, our 3-hour bike ride, Heidi literally got off her bike and said, I'm not going anymore until you feed me.
So we decided to stick around and eat, and I'm so glad that we did because
I had
the
delicious
food was
fish
delicious.
tacos.
I had, what did I have, ceviche?
Yeah.
And
the kids got chicken quesadillas.
It was so good.
It was delicious.
And I even gave Chelsea the warning. I was like, don't expect, like, good food in LA. Don't expect, like, good seafood. Don't, because everything I'd ever had there was kind of subpar, didn't have flavor. This place was amazing. So I was really happy with that.
We enjoyed it.
Yeah. And so we continued riding down, and then when we got to, what was that? What was the Santa Monica? They had, like, all these exercise things and, like, these things that people swing down.
And Chris could go down the whole thing, which was very impressive because I didn't know he could do it.
Well, I didn't know I could do it either.
But the kids had fun. It was really crowded and it had good energy. Everyone was kind of.
I really liked Santa Monica.
I can't believe that you could do that.
I decided I'd give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, Chris and the kids went. I stayed with the bikes because there was no place to lock up the bikes or something. You did have to stay with your bikes because
we had locks. We could have locked them up together or something.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm very impressed that you could do that whole thing.
I wasn't sure. I don't think I've ever done one of those.
I know. Noah was like, who knew? Who knew he could do it? But so that was really fun. Then we went on the pier.
Santa Monica Pier. I have a lot of memories from.
Oh, and the magic guy was amazing.
Yeah.
So we had a little magic guy, and they gave the kids like little magic cards.
We didn't give us anything. I think he did pretty well. So that was the only beach that I really saw people swimming at.
Yeah, and then we went down that kind of mall thing, which I feel like it wasn't that crowded. Like,
it really wasn't.
Like this,
so the promenade. The promenade used to be like a really, really happening spot. And I think something changed in there, and a lot of businesses moved out, and people, like, don't really go there anymore.
It was like half empty. So, like, half the stores were empty in there.
But they had that candy store.
Oh, yeah, so we went to a candy store.
They had a sucker out of us at the candy store.
And we all could fill up a bag full of candy, and we did. So that was a good day. So we had been out all day long. We kind of left the RV at, 9 in the morning. And now it was about like 3 or 4. Oh, the squirrels. The squirrels were amazing. You could feed the squirrels. And
I don't think you're supposed to feed the squirrels.
Chris, would you stop that? We can feed squirrels.
There was a sign that said, don't feed the squirrels.
We fed the squirrels.
You can't feed the squirrels.
We fed the squirrels. we fed everything that we could see to feed. We like feeding animals. We fed the squirrels. Anyway, so they kept playing. I was at that point. I could tell Heidi was getting tired, and I was super sunburned.
You were sunburned.
I thought my shoulders were about to blister. So I took the bike and just went ahead and rode all the way back to the RV.
Yeah.
Which still took me about like an hour. Don't you think? Or no?
I don't think it's that far away, but
around the marina and everything.
Yeah. But it was it was a nice bike ride.
I did when I was like going around the marina, and I was going in between all those cars and all of the RVs and stuff.
You wish you had a helmet?
No, I didn't wish I had a helmet. That was the only time I thought that I shouldn't be by myself, because I was like, I don't really know where I'm going. So, but I should have had a helmet. We
stayed and went to the skate park. I was really looking forward to seeing, because we saw that coming in.
Yeah.
And so on the way out, we stayed at the skate park for probably like an hour.
Yeah.
Watching people skate, and there was one rollerblader, but most people were on skateboards. And
so when I got back to the RV, I really just got back and changed clothes and
you had to get out of the sun.
I had to get out of the sun. But really, I just jumped in the truck and came and picked y'all up, because it was like 30 minutes from our RV side to come.
Oh, so you weren't back very long.
I was only back for like 15 minutes at the RV, and then I jumped in the truck.
We had an adventure, because we stayed at the skate park for like an hour, and then we went down to like Muscle Beach and watched people work out.
Well, I think it took me a long time to get back to the RV, and then it took me a long time to get back to you, just because of traffic.
But there were people doing pull-ups and,
but when I pulled back to
playing
our
tennis and all kind of things.
RV, there was like a party in front of our RV park because it was right on the beach and you can have fires right there. So when I was pulling in, I could tell it was about to be really crowded, and the person next to us said, "Oh, it's going to be a really wild night here." And I thought, okay, well, let me get everyone back.
Well, it was the only place anywhere around that you could have fire on the beach, and so
yeah.
they were flocked to it. It was Dockweiler Beach, and I don't think it's like a real popular beach.
It's right above the airport.
Well, it's below the airport. But you also had like the sewage treatment plant and the water plant and there's oil refinery and all this stuff around. It was kind of industrial.
The RV part was fine, but the planes.
The airplanes. Like every 3 minutes.
I mean, I would say like it was okay for 2 nights. It wouldn't have been okay for any longer than that. So that night we grilled steak.
Yeah.
And we watched the sunset. It was a great rest of the day. Okay, so by this point, I was starting to take over the trip.
She was ready to get home. And that was day, I don't know, 20 or so, 21.
37. No, I'm kidding. No, it was good, but I kind of I needed a little bit of like more pampering because so I thought when I was young, my grandmother took me to a Circus Olay show in Biloxi, and I just thought it was the most...
I was probably at the same one. I didn't see you there, though.
I know. We crossed paths so many times. Me and Chris both, so we decided to see a show in Vegas. We threw Vegas in.
We did. And it wasn't on the way, but it wasn't like super far out of the way. And if we went there, then we would be on Route 66 and like so.
And me and Chris had both taken I-10 so many times because I lived in Santa Barbara, Chris has lived in LA, and so we wanted to take a different route home. So we went to Vegas and we ate at the Wynn buffet.
Yes, it was a really good buffet.
Which was actually, I think the kids loved it and they had never experienced anything like that before.
I ate so much. And like
Chris ate so much food that like me and Noah kind of just stuck with the snow crab. I feel like I ate snow crab and I ate some like sherbet or something.
I thought there was maybe it's on your phone, but I thought there was a picture of
with your belly.
Like my belly.
Yeah, I mean, buffets can be dangerous.
I don't think I can do that every day.
No, I don't think you should.
It would be.
But the food, usually buffets I don't love because the food's not good. This food was very good.
It was really good. So it was a good buffet. It wasn't like a cheap buffet.
So the Wynn was a beautiful hotel or casino, whatever it was.
And they had a McLaren store.
Well, but they had beautiful, like, the flowers and...
I know, but Heidi really wants a McLaren, so...
Heidi's not going to get a McLaren.
I know she wants one. She's going to get one. She wants a blue one.
Heidi needs to study really hard and get a really good job. So we dreamed about things to buy there because they had all these fancy stores. And so then we saw... Oh, me and Heidi, I took Heidi to Zara for the first time.
Oh, is that where... Okay.
Yeah, and she was very excited about going to her first Zara store. And then we saw Circus Olay.
Well, we saw like this version that was
a weird version.
It was definitely a weird version. What was it called?
I have no idea. Mystery?
Mystique or Mystery or something. Yeah. So it was, definitely some flying trapeze.
I didn't understand the baby that laughed the whole time.
I think we should have gone and we should have seen the normal Cirque du Soleil.
It's when we saw it as a child, it had everything. I think they've broken them up now.
I don't know, but it was. I'm glad that we went, and it was a Cirque du Soleil Mystere.
First, there's only one night we were going to be in Vegas, and we couldn't stay any longer, and there's only so many shows that were available that one night. So, anyway, but the kids had fun. We all had a great time.
So, yeah,
by the end of the day, we were tired, ready to go to sleep. Chris wanted to keep partying.
Yeah, it was in Vegas.
Yeah, and we were like, yeah, we're done. But
partying. They had a lot of really cool buildings there. A lot of cool things. So
driving out, we saw the Hoover Dam.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay, we left Vegas.
We left Vegas.
And then we drove. I didn't realize how close the Hoover Dam was to Vegas.
I didn't either.
So, and that was really interesting that they did that. Vegas gets, what did they say, less than a half an inch of rain a year.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
the stats
something
on
like
that.
nothing.
It's not much.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And Vegas, I was surprised. I felt like it was so hot, so humid. Vegas's temperature, I'm not sure if I could do.
I think they have less humidity there than we do here, but it's hot as hot.
I didn't want to stay 5 more days in Vegas. Yeah. It wasn't my thing. But okay, so on the way back from Vegas, we saw the Hoover Dam, and then out of nowhere,
there was a sign that said like
biggest crater,
biggest something,
crater
yeah.
something.
So
we have to figure out the name of that crater.
I'm sure there'll be a picture of it.
Noah,
there it is.
What is it?
Meteor crater.
Meteor
Seems
crater.
Like we should have known that.
And it was.
That's a piece of it, right there.
It was so interesting.
It was really cool. It was a cool little spot.
What state was that in?
I have no idea.
Was it in Arizona?
Probably.
Yeah,
Arizona.
I think it was Arizona.
Yeah.
The Meteor Crater, and it was like a very cool thing. Now we got there right at the end of the day, right before it closed, and a storm was coming in, so they kind of closed. We couldn't walk around the whole thing, but it was a good experience.
Yeah, I was glad that we went, and it broke up the trip some.
Yeah.
That was really what we needed, was something.
Well, we were trying to go to the Petrified Forest, and
yes.
So, which
we'll get there.
We'll get there. So we found so that night.
A little restaurant.
Okay, so I kept searching for RV sites, and the only one I could find that was close to the Petrified Forest was like twice as much as what the hotel would have been.
It was kind of ridiculous, and the hotel was reasonable.
The hotel was like,
I don't know, it was $80.
Yeah,
or
like
it was
$70 or $80.
But then the RV park was like
$210.
Yeah, for one night at RV park, and we had to bring.
And we pulled we were going to pull into the hotel at like 7:30. Maybe even later than that. The restaurant was about to close in the town we were eating at. So it was really late. We were just going to sleep and leave. So we just parked the RV and we stayed in a hotel.
At the hotel. And they had room to park it there.
And I got to take a hot bath. And everyone got to take hot showers, which, and so it was just nice.
And it really wasn't that bad of a deal because they had breakfast there too. And so we got to eat breakfast for free. That was included.
Yeah, you went and got us all breakfast because no one wanted to leave the room.
Nobody wanted to leave the room.
We were all sleeping in that day.
So we got breakfast, and you had a bath.
Yeah.
And so
we all got to relax.
So I think it worked really, really well. We saved money, and we got breakfast and a bath.
Yeah.
So, and it spoiled you, though.
And I thought, this hotel thing, there's something about hotels that I really like. And it wasn't a very nice hotel. It was just like, it was room. So the next day we went to the Petrified Forest.
So Petrified Forest.
So the first thing we did was go to the gift shop.
Yeah, like a gift shop, museum.
And we decided that everyone needed a piece of petrified rock because Chris is an arborist, and we thought that would be a good gift. And they said that if you take any rock or petrified wood out of the Petrified Forest, you get like spited and like have bad luck for the rest of your life.
And it's illegal.
Okay, yes, and it's illegal.
So you can't take the wood. There's petrified wood everywhere.
But you don't. But
But
I like that. Yes, it is illegal, and you shouldn't.
But what they did, they polished it though too. So they took the pieces and they polished them. So
but I like that they kind of made it where it was like bad luck. Because I was like, I don't want bad luck. You don't want bad luck.
You could take a dump truck and load it up every single day.
In the Petrified Forest, there's like
petrified wood everywhere. It's like an explosion.
It's like you're just walking over petrified wood. But there's no like petrified trees. It's just all like little stumps.
So I wanted to see what was that little house made of petrified.
There is laying down trees.
Well, they're rocks now.
Rocks. Petrified old trees that turned into.
But
rocks.
it's not really a forest. It's desert with like rocks.
Yeah, it was pretty hot.
But I wanted to see that house. What do they call it? Adobe house or whatever that they built out of the petrified wood, and it was on this trail, and it was going to take a little while to walk up there and say, well, hey, we have bikes. Let's just take the bikes.
So me and the kids we were starting to kind of feel the trip. And so at first it was super hot. We didn't have lunch, and everyone was getting tired. And so and it was a little bit later in the day. So Chris said, let's just jump on the bikes. So I said, that's fine. It'll take us 10 minutes.
A gatehouse, I think is what it was called.
Okay. So Chris pulled the bikes out of the truck. We had a great little bike ride. until we didn't. Actually, it made the whole trip worth it because I thought that it was kind of it was kind of exciting, but we would never do it again.
Well, so we were coming back, and there was a park ranger standing in the middle of the path.
So we're riding down this path, and the little house is on the top of the hill, and so I was with Heidi, but Chris and Noah went first, and then me and Heidi went. Now, this was a time that we probably should have had helmets on, but we hadn't been wearing helmets, and so I pull up, and Chris is stopped by a ranger. And it's not like one of those friendly rangers from Yellowstone. It was a guy not smiling. All right, tell a story.
Well, so he was like, do you realize you're not supposed to have bikes on the path? I was like, no, I had no idea, because otherwise we wouldn't have bikes on the path.
Yeah, Chris is a rule follower.
Well, I would have followed the rule. I even saw the sign when we came in, and it didn't really say anything about bikes, and I didn't read all the fine details. But it, there wasn't like a big no bike sign. And so anyway, so he was about halfway down the path, and he was like, well, you need to get off your bike, and you need to get your license, and have to run your number and make sure you don't have warrants. And so he was taking it very seriously and had it all figured out. And then Heidi and Chelsea came up, and they were like, wait, what's going on here? So.
Okay, so when I pull up, he's like, ma'am, do you realize that you're not supposed to have bikes on the path? And I was like, no, I did not realize that. I'm very sorry. But he was like, he seemed like he was young.
He was kind of young.
And I think
he was being punished.
So it's really hot. It's like
and it's kind of boring.
Well, there's not very many people.
Like, we saw everything that we needed to there in about an hour.
Well,
he's stationed there. That's his job. He's there.
And there's not that many people. Like when we went on this bike ride, we didn't see anyone else on the hike because it's so hot, And if you can't ride bikes, I mean, it would have taken an hour to go up there.
It would have taken like a solid hour to walk up to
and then an hour to walk back. But he had to walk up this path by himself in a full what's this vest called? Bulletproof vest and long sleeves and long pants.
On his full ranger outfit, all of his gear.
But you could just tell, this was what he was going to do today. He was taking it very seriously.
So what did he say?
He said, ma'am, do you have your license? And I said, no, I'm on a bike.
He said, well, I'm going to have to run your information through the National Park database and see if you... He did! To see if you have any other violations. And so if he did, then he would have had to take us in or write us a ticket or something. So unfortunately, we didn't have any other violations.
Now,
I started thinking, back in my younger years.
I really appreciate that our country has great parks, and we love them. And I love what all the park rangers do. This guy just took his job a little bit too seriously.
It seemed a little ridiculous.
It could have been we could have been we were very sorry. We didn't mean to really break the rules, but he just took it so far. It was and then even when we were riding away, he said something to me. He said, he said, I am going to log you into the system.
Oh, yeah, to log us into the system.
When I was pulling away, he said, I am logging your name into the system. So next time, this won't be a warning.
If there's a next time, there won't be a warning.
There won't be a warning.
So
I kind of feel like...
But I was thinking back, in my younger days, I was a little wilder. I was thinking maybe I might have done something in a national park. There might be something there.
I just think that he needs to get a girlfriend or go out to dinner.
I think he's being punished. I think that
he just didn't seem like a happy person.
But it's okay. I asked him. I said,
"What if he ever watches this podcast?"
He might write us a ticket.
Well, he already wrote us a warning. He can't do anything else. But if we appreciate your service if you ever watch.
So he told me how dangerous it was to ride a bike down this path, that I might fall off and hit my head on a piece of petrified wood. And I was kind of thinking, you could do that on any path or any sidewalk or any road. I don't see that as being a big deal.
Yeah, we probably should wear helmets.
We should wear a helmet. But I asked him, I said, well, do you want me to walk the bike in? He said, oh, no, that'd be ridiculous. You can ride it. I'm like, almost as ridiculous as you stopping me from riding my bike to begin with.
Well, I do think that the petrified forest would be a little bit more popular if you were able to ride bikes.
I think it would. It would be a lot.
It's really hot.
So I did notice on the way back, the sign did have a no bike symbol down.
What is that little symbol of just throwing ice cubes out? Is that no trash?
Yeah, no throwing ice cubes.
Throwing ice cubes. No littering.
They like it hot.
A dog has to be on a leash.
All that.
So we left Petrified Forest really late in the day, and we hadn't had lunch.
Yes.
This is the day we
did.
all fell apart.
I didn't fall apart. Y'all did.
Well, you should have fallen apart.
Well,
but
we most of our days we started driving early, and then we'd finish off the day by doing something. And so it was a little bit. This one we started off in the Petrified Forest, and then we had a long drive ahead of us.
Well, we were all really tired. We've been very busy. I was really sunburned. I think that me and Heidi fall apart if we don't eat on time.
Well, and I think like we didn't have the air conditioners going because normally like when it got hot,
the camper was so hot.
Then we'd turn on the air conditioners, but they never caught up, and then it kept tripping the breaker, and like they just
we were hot and hungry and sunburned
and tired of being in the RV,
and we wanted to go home.
So they definitely fell apart. There was a little bit of crying.
Oh, I started crying. So I cried, and then Heidi started crying, and I said, "Heidi, it's my turn to cry." And she goes, "You can't be the only one crying."
And Noah said he was car sick,
yes.
and I was like, "Oh man, I'm just trying to drive."
And we didn't have very much. No one wanted the food we had,
and there was nowhere to stop. But, like, I also knew we had, I think from there, it was about 16 hours to Dallas. And so
16 hours sounds like
but the longer, but the longer that we stayed on the road the first day, then the shorter the drive was going to be for the second day. But if we stopped early on the first day, then the second day was just going to be that much more because we were just going to have to drive 10 or 12 or 14 hours or whatever. So, anyway, we kept going as far as we could. And we did wind up staying in this little campground in the middle of nowhere, which was fine, because all we needed was a place to spend the night.
I don't even think I looked at. Noah said, "Don't open the window, Mom. Just."
It was.
He said, "Don't open the window. You're not going to be happy. Just go to bed." And he goes, "You'll wake up and you'll feel better."
So RV parks can be anywhere from like luxury with like $1 million RVs to like. People are living there, and they have trash everywhere, and and that's where this one was. It was.
I know. Well, so I kind of just nice. I fell apart so much, and me and Heidi were in the bed together, falling apart. So we were watching YouTube shorts, and.
So we headed out of there pretty early, and then we got to. Where did we? Is that the
Dallas.
one? Is that Dallas?
That's Dallas.
Yeah.
So we couldn't find an RV park in Dallas.
We got pretty close.
We're
30 minutes or so.
Yeah. And so this RV park, we didn't even explore the RV park. We got there pretty late in the day, and we met Chris's friend, really good friend, Jason.
I really wanted to see Jason because I haven't seen Jason in a long time, and he lived in Dallas, and so that was the thing when we were driving there. And Chelsea was freaking out and just said, "We need to skip Dallas," and I just showed her the map.
I was ready to go home.
I was like Dallas is the direct route home. Like, we're going to be driving through. We got to stop somewhere. And so we met up with Jason and his girlfriend, and we went to this Korean barbecue restaurant.
Which was so good. I've been
so
dreaming about Korean barbecue since we ate here.
And we ordered, I think, everything on the menu.
We ordered. We ordered way too much food.
We really did. But it was good. And then we went to that little grocery store.
The kids got boba tea.
Oh, yeah, boba tea. But then we went to that little Asian restaurant, the market thing, and they had, like, live fish and
we bought
squid.
I don't even know what we bought. Heidi bought these little, like, dessert things that you decorate.
Yeah, it was fun. We had a lot of fun, and we laughed a lot.
It really was redeeming because we all kind of were done, and we needed to see some other people outside of our family, and we needed to like have a new experience that wasn't, we needed something. So it really did revitalize us.
It was good. I was really glad that we went, and so we headed out of there. And we were headed home, but we had one more stop. We could have drove straight home, but that was funny. You open that little door.
Yeah. So Noah really wanted to see the Alamo. I've been to San Antonio so many times, and I love San Antonio, and I think it's a great city. That I've seen it before, but then Chris was like, "We plan to do it," and I said, "I will go to the Alamo if I get to stay at a hotel."
You were done at this point.
I was done with the camper. Well, the thing is that the camper had slowly started breaking the whole trip, and so the slide out wasn't sliding out anymore. So So used to, like, when we would pull into an RV camp, we could slide the big slide out, and we had like a lot of room. But at this point, it was claustrophobic. It was, I felt like, I didn't feel like going to the grocery store again. We were running out of food. We just like.
You were just ready to be.
I was ready.
Ready to be home, but definitely ready to be out of the RV.
So, and Chris goes, "That's fine. We can get a hotel if we can find a place for the RV to be parked." Well, there's no place to park an RV in San Antonio and have it plugged in.
Dallas.
No, San Antonio.
San Antonio. Wait, what's San Antonio? Oh, sorry. I was thinking of Dallas. We left Dallas. All right, got it. We're on to the next place.
We left Dallas, so we were debating on going to San Antonio. So we were trying.
We tried to find some spots to keep it, like even like a storage yard or like anything. And we just couldn't really come up with anything.
So this was when, at the time, I just thought I'm going to stay. So I found a great hotel that had like 2 rooms where everyone could have their own space. Had a great bathroom. It was right downtown.
It was on the Riverwalk.
It had like all these like snack things. It had all these drink tickets. I mean, it was like it had a lot of freebies
and like they had like breakfast and they didn't call it dinner, but it was basically dinner.
It was like
it was
a happy hour every night. Okay.
They had tons of food.
So, but we had to pay for this RV site. So I had to get a whole RV site and pay for the hotel room, which at that point I was fine with. The kids were so happy. They were like jumping on the beds. They had space. We needed space at this point.
They had a pool.
We had
2 pools.
We had 2. It was a great hotel. We had 2 pools, 2 hot tubs. It had a restaurant there. It had everything that I kind of needed if we were going to survive and stay married.
It was a nice hotel. I wasn't upset about staying there.
No, you were. And I think that this was day like 28 on the road.
26 maybe. 26.
Okay. We had been in the RV for a very long time. And so we just had a great day. We went swimming. Look how sunburned I am. We went swimming. We had dinner out that night. We really just hung around the hotel.
So we went to the Riverwalk for a minute, but we really didn't stay long. But everything was kind of closing.
Yeah.
And so we were going to go back the next day.
Yeah.
And do some adventures and go on the little boat tour and everything. And so and the Alamo. So we were going to do the Alamo. And so I was fine to stay one night there. Mm-hmm. And after one night,
I wanted to stay a week because I just did not want to get back in the RV. So I just decided I'm going to live in San Antonio the rest of my life.
Which was unreasonable.
Which Chris said it was unreasonable. And I do love my house and my dog, so I had to get home someday. But we went to the Alamo the next day. We went to a haunted hotel.
Yeah.
We had a great lunch out on the Riverwalk.
I rode that little boat around.
Heidi tried on cowboy hats. So we and then we went back to the hotel, and we really enjoyed the hotel. That night afternoon we went swimming again. It was the night of the debate, so we were going to watch the debate that night. And after that day, we were planning on going back to the RV.
We could have stayed in the RV that night.
Spend the night in the RV.
Because we're already paying for an RV park.
And we were going to stay in the RV that night and then leave the next morning. But this is when me and Chris had our first really Chris said, we cannot stay. This is not reasonable. And I said...
It wasn't reasonable. I still don't think it was reasonable.
I said, I'm sorry, it's not reasonable, but maybe it's not reasonable to go in an RV for 30 days because I'm staying in the hotel. And I said, you could go back to the RV if you wanted to. But he loves us enough that he stayed with us.
Stayed with him. So we had to pay for the parking for the truck.
Oh my gosh, we're not getting into all this.
No, we and then the RV had its own spot, and then we had the hotel. So things were really adding up. I was just like...
And we were eating nice food.
Eating out, so this thing started getting really expensive really fast. But we did it. We stayed another night, and we stayed married. Got back in the RV the next day.
And drove. Now, going on home.
We were headed home, but...
I needed that extra night in the hotel. I liked the big bed and the sheets and everything about it. I liked it.
So we got to. What
we
was
got
that?
almost home. We drove all day that day.
We drove a long ways, but we had this stop planned in Margaritaville
Yeah.
in Louisiana because not that we really like needed another destination, but like you got to stop somewhere. And
Chris really wanted the kids to have a good last night.
Right, I did. I
Army.
didn't want them to just remember their last day of driving home.
2 days
of
of
just being
driving.
like 2 days of driving, miserable,
Yeah.
like hot, so.
Yeah, the
so,
RV is pretty hot at this point. It's hot outside.
Well, what
Air
we started
conditioners
doing
couldn't
was
keep
we
up.
started turning on both air conditioners the moment that we unplugged and just left the generator on and the air conditioner running the
'cause
whole
we had
time while
to.
we're driving down the road.
So we just had to.
Because it was getting hot. Because the dash air just wasn't enough to keep up. But Margaritaville was fun. The kids got to play and relax.
I feel like Margaritaville was just like a big place to drink.
It was definitely a party.
I mean,
And so,
we really just went there and like cooked spaghetti. But it had a little water park. The kids had fun with it. It wouldn't be like a place that
I don't think I'll go back.
I wouldn't go back.
Yeah, it would be fun if we were drank a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if you just want to like,
if you want to party,
yeah, I mean,
that's the spot.
It was, yeah. I mean, it was just like a lot of people riding around on golf carts drunk.
Yeah, but I think they could have done some more stuff for the kids. They didn't have ping pong. They didn't have like they had the little water park thing, but their little like playground was like shoved off in a corner behind like a parking lot.
Well, it was called Margaritaville.
I know, I get it.
mean,
I get it.
it was like it's for adults.
Yeah.
It really is for adults. And
So then
I
we
got
drove home
and I saw my house.
and she immediately started gardening.
I saw my yard and my dogs, and I said, let's just not unpack the RV and let's just enjoy being home.
So we were home on day 29, and then
And late in the afternoon.
Yeah, and then we spent all day 30 unpacking and getting everything.
Yeah, I didn't get anything out of the
ready to
RV on the 29th.
Kids
I said
got to play
the
with
kids
dogs.
started playing with the dogs. We enjoyed being home. And it was such a great trip. I just think that it was a long 30 days.
I was ready to stay on the road. I could
Chris,
still go right now.
Chris said we could stay on the road for another
Yeah.
month, and
Yeah.
I was like, I would have died. But we have to fix the camper. So over the trip, the back shower broke on day 3. So we only had one shower.
But we only really needed one. It was just the door.
But
And then the toilet started leaking.
The toilet started leaking.
The engine broke.
The engine broke. The
One-
the slide was the biggest
slide
thing.
was an issue.
Because it was the main slide that gives all our space.
Yeah.
So anyway, and things
But
started.
we didn't have any major mechanical problems.
No,
we didn't
it
have a
held
flat
up.
tire. We
No,
didn't,
you're right. No.
But it was a rolling earthquake. I mean, the
I
thing
was
just,
really afraid of a flat tire, and it really held up really, really well.
Yeah.
But I think that the kids saw a lot of things, a lot of the country, and you finished your dream. You always wanted to do this.
I always wanted to do it. And now I want to keep going.
And keep going.
So that's the reason I brought you here, to tell you about our next trip.
Oh, that's funny. I think if I plan it. You planned this trip.
So I think we're going to
and
hire a driver for the next one, and I'll get to go hang out in the back with
with
y'all.
with us
Yeah.
and play games.
Yeah.
It really is. I think that I want to stay in a location longer. So if I go, I want to go to a location and then be able to stay. It's hard to kind of pack up and move every single night, but it was really. I think the kids will always remember it, and it was a great trip.
I think so. All right,
Okay.
let's wrap it up. So, can you just verify that I didn't have to work on the trip?
No, you really didn't work at all on the trip.
Yeah. So I thought it was really good, and kudos to our guys for keeping everything, holding on to it. I had to check. I was like, "Hey, what's going on over there?"
Yeah, I
Like,
think
we're trying to leave you alone.
Chris
Like-
managed the company really well. Not
Chris Johnson.
you, yeah, Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson did
And everyone did a great job. All the guys did a great job while we were gone. Then also, you really had been planning this trip in your head since we met when I was 22,
I don't know. Is that how old you were?
21. I don't know how old I was.
Right, 20-something.
Yeah. So I mean, you've been talking about this for 20 years.
It's been a while. I've been
Yeah.
dreaming about it for longer than that.
Yeah.
We did it.
We did it. We did it. Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
Only 3 nights in a hotel. Oh, and one of them didn't really count. But no.
Love you, babe.
All right.